have completed the discussion of all the different types of linear equalizers. We have already started the discussion of nonlinear equalizer, which is the decision feedback equalizer. How decision feedback equalizer is effective in handling strong ISI because it is able to estimate errors of past symbols and able to use that decision of past symbols to estimate the ISI of the future symbols. So the entire sequence of the transmitted symbol is actually being analyzed, and the estimation is used for estimating correctly the amount of ISI of the multipath channel that we have discussed in the previous lecture. Now in this lecture, we are going to focus on what is maximum likelihood sequence estimation equalizer, which is your last topic in your nonlinear equalizers. So nonlinear equalizer means it has a decision block, it has a feedback block, and it has sequence estimation. Compared to linear equalizer, here we are estimating the entire sequence, the errors in the entire sequence of the transmit signal. That means all the symbols that are there, the previous symbol, the future symbol, and the current symbol, the error due to ISI is being estimated at each step, and it is used, the decision is used to estimate the ISI of the future symbols. So this is why nonlinear equalizers have a better advantage over linear equalizers. Now, we are going to study what is the maximum likelihood sequence estimation, how it performs the equalizer, or how it handles intersymbol interference, or how it helps to overcome the multipath effect of the channel in wireless propagation. Okay. So in this maximum likelihood sequence estimation, it actually detects the entire transmit sequence, just like your previous one that we have done, decision feedback equalizer. So any nonlinear equalizer will always complete this, will always estimate the entire transmitted sequence instead of doing one symbol at a time estimation. So, unlike symbol to symbol detection, this will do the estimate of the ISI or estimate of the interference over the entire transmit sequence. Why entire transmit sequence? I have discussed this in the previous lecture, where every symbol is having an overlap with the past symbol as well as the future symbol. So both the overlapping regions are there, and they constitute the to the total error in the signal when it is propagating through the wireless channel. Okay, so we need to know, in order to understand how this ISI is affecting the entire transmitted signal. So here the maximum likelihood sequence estimation, or MLSE, utilizes the knowledge of the channel impulse response. Channel impulse response means H of K. So channel impulse response, or we can use it as H of C, whichever terminology you want to use. You can use anyone. So channel impulse response is already present. Now it is using the knowledge of this channel impulse response, and it is going to estimate a sequence, a data sequence, and it will try to check what is the probability that this sequence will have minimum amount of error during estimation. Okay, so what is the process here? The process is, it will utilize the channel impulse response. It will estimate one transmit sequence. That means, suppose if my transmit sequence is 4 ones, what will this equalizer do? This equalizer will estimate different transmit signals. So first estimation is, suppose it will estimate that the sequence is 1000. Second estimate is, suppose the sequence is 1100. So like this, it will go on estimating the transmit signal, and it will calculate the error value for each of this transmit signal estimated. Now for each of this, we will have different errors. Now it will try to find out which error is more and which one is less. Suppose error means there is greater amount of error if I take this as my or assume this my transmit sequence. So what we should do, we will check like this. It will try to estimate different types of estimations of transmit sequence, and it will always keep on calculating the value of error. Now, this sequence was transmitted will be decided based on the value of the error signal or error difference with the actual transmitted and the estimated transmitted symbol. So in this case, we are going to estimate. So what are the steps here? So we are receiving the received signal. The received signal will have the present symbol that is being transmitted, the past symbols that are already being transmitted, and they are delayed because of intersymbol interference. Each of this factor is having a channel effect, which is multipath effect. So H of 0, H of 1, H of 2, all these are intersymbol interference due to the channel, the effect of the channel. Plus, it will have some factor which is called the noise, which is the undesired signal at the receiver side. So the receiver will have different types of transmitted symbols, and we need to detect what would be the actual transmitted signal. So actual transmitted signal is all capital 4. Now what would be this algorithm doing? This algorithm will predict, or it will select one data sequence, and it will calculate the error. So once this error is being calculated, it will find out which one is having the minimum error, and that sequence is having the maximum possibility of being the exact transmitted signal. Okay, so it is doing it by predicting the sequence of the transmitted signal. So it will choose a transmitted sequence. It will calculate the error value between the estimated or the predicted value with the actual value, and it will try to find out the difference. This difference it will try to minimize, and it will keep on repeating this. So in steps, if I want to do what is the steps of maximum likelihood sequence estimation equalizer. So first step is predict one or choose one transmit sequence, then pass it through the channel characteristics. So I know what is the value of my channel characteristics. So channel impulse response is known. So I'm estimating my transmit signal. Suppose I actual transmitted signal is all 4-1, and suppose I'm taking the estimation as assuming that this was being transmitted. So I will estimate, I will take one possible transmit sequence. I know the channel coefficient or channel characteristics. I will multiply this channel characteristics with each of the symbol here, and I will generate the received signal. Okay, so actual received signal is already there. I am creating this received signal using my estimated transmit pulse or transmit sequence. So from this, I will create the estimated received signal. So what am I doing here? My actual received signal is yk, and I am calculating the difference with the estimated received signal. So this is yk minus yk cap, and I'm going to calculate the square of this mean square value of this error, and try to find out the value for which, or the sequence for which, the error is minimum. Okay, so we are going to do this calculation, repeat this calculation for different estimated sequence, and we are going to see what is the closest match. Closest match means this error value is minimum for which selected transmit sequence. So you will select this. So this algorithm will keep on changing the transmit sequence. It is having the impulse response of the channel, multiply it with the impulse response, generate the estimated received signal, and actual received signal minus estimated received signal it will keep on calculating this error value, and it will try to find out which one will give the minimum error value, that is the closest one compared to the actual transmitted symbol. So maybe suppose 1110 will give you the minimum error. So it will assume that this one is the actual transmitted signal, although this is not the correct one. So it will keep on changing the estimate. It will keep on changing the transmitted sequence, and it will try to find out which one was the correct sequence based on the amount of error in the estimated received signal with the actual received signal. So keep in mind, in case of maximum likelihood sequence estimation equalizer, we are comparing, or we are doing the error analysis based on the actual received with the estimate received. But in decision feedback, we were doing the error signal calculation as actual transmit minus the estimated transmit value. So what is the difference between decision feedback and maximum likelihood? I'm doing here error calculation based on the actual received with the estimated received. In decision feedback, I'm doing the error calculation between the actual transmit with the estimated transmit. So this is different and this is different. Clear? So what is the block diagram of maximum likelihood sequence estimation equalizer? In this case, this is the basic block diagram, or the very higher level block diagram here. This is not the detailed level of block diagram. So the first thing that you have it at the receiver, you will be receiving the multipath component of the transmitted signal, which is your received signal YT. This received signal is passed through a block which is called match filter. Now, match filter is basically a block which will try to improve the signal strength and minimize the noise which is present in the received signal. So it will try to minimize the noise which is there. So it will try to improve the SNR, signal to noise ratio. Okay. So the signal to noise ratio of the received signal will be improved by utilizing a matched filter. So it will improve the signal strength compared to the noise strength. So unwanted signal that is there in the received signal. So in the received signal, you will have all the delayed component, multipath component of the actual transmitted signal with the noise component. So that noise component will be handled by this matched filter here. At the output of this matched filter, we are having all the delay components here, and we are having one estimated sequence. So this estimated sequence is my actual transmitted sequence. This sequence is multiplied by the different channel characteristics. So channel characteristics means channel's impulse response, H of k. This is my actual transmitted signal, D of k. Okay. So I'm going to multiply this D of k with H of k, and I'm going to find out what is the estimated received signal. So estimated received signal is Yk cap. Now at this point, you are already having Yk here. Okay. So the difference between Yk and Yk cap is going to be my error signal. That error signal will be propagated in two ways. It is propagated to the match filter so that the SNR or the noise can further be reduced, and it is also propagated to the channel such that the estimated sequence can be changed, and this Yk estimated receipt signal value can be optimized. So this is being fed here, and the estimated signal is given to the MLSE block. It will compare these two and will generate the output estimated transmit sequence. So we are comparing the error, we are trying to minimize the error and redoing this whole process again and again such that we can predict the actual transmitted sequence. So what is the actual transmitted sequence which is being transmitted? Okay. Next, so what is the advantage of the maximum likelihood sequence estimator? It is utilized, it has very good performance for severe ISI channels. Why? Because here it is doing in prediction method. So it minimizes the sequence error probability. That means what? In my decision feedback, The disadvantage was if I do one wrong estimate of error. So if I do one wrong estimate of error, then that error will be propagated for all my future symbol estimation. But in this case, because I'm utilizing one estimate of the transmit pulse, I am not propagating the previous error factors. So I'm able to minimize the error probability very efficiently. Okay. But major disadvantage is high computational complexity. It is very resource intensive. Resource intensive means it is very complex, and it is going to do multiple iterations. Multiple iteration means suppose it is going to start with first estimate of this, so all different combinations it will try. Keep on trying. So if I have 4 bits, I will actually literally do 2 to the power 4 times combinations of it. So I'm actually going on doing different combinations of transmit pulse, and I'm trying to find out what is the error factor. Clear? So if I keep on doing this, what is happening? I am actually doing it multiple steps. I'm repeating this step again and again to find out the error value in the received and the estimated received signal. And based on this, the whole process is going to take a lot of time. Not just time, it is going to take a lot of resources, hardware resources, to do this comparison, estimation, multiplication, then doing the error calculation, then again doing the changing the estimated sequence, again repeating the same step again and again. So this is going to take a lot of time to do the estimate here. So the complexity increases because if I have a signal which is having higher modulation order, or if it has previous, if the channel impulse response changes, that means if it has previous impulse response overlap with the current impulse response. So channel memory means the channel response is changing. So with changing means h of k value is changing. Now h of k value changes means every time I'm having change in the transmit sequence with the channel sequence. So I am doing multiple times, I'm repeating the same step. So it becomes more and more complex. Okay. Now if I want to compare all the different types of equalizers which are there in your syllabus. So we have studied starting from basic equalizers, which are your linear equalizers. So in linear equalizers, we had something called zero forcing equalizer, and we had MMSE equalizers. So minimum mean square error equalizer and zero forcing equalizer. Zero forcing was plain simple, the most simplest kind of linear equalizer. Simplest means it will simply invert the channel characteristics. So if channel is having some effect h of k, it will simply inverse means zero forcing will have the impulse response as 1 by h of k. So inverse means just the opposite of it. Okay. So it will have inverse response, and it will simply remove the ISI. But what is its disadvantage? Its disadvantage is it cannot work, it can only perform in noiseless scenarios. Noiseless scenarios means what? Noiseless scenario means it is effective only for channel where there is no unwanted signal present. Why? Because when it is negating the effect of the channel with the inverse effect, then it is actually multiplying this factor with the noise. So noise component which is added in this channel during radio wireless propagation. So what is happening? This is being multiplied with this factor. So this factor is very large factor. When it gets multiplied with the noise, the overall effect is very large. So noise actually increases to a very high extent. So the noise amplitude increases. So if noise amplitude increases, that means the power of the noise signal is increasing compared to your actual signal. That means your signal to noise ratio is reducing. Why? Because signal strength is reducing compared to your noise signal strength. Clear? So the major limitation of zero forcing equalizer is it enhances noise in the radio wave or wireless propagation channel. So it removes ISI, yes, by using inverse of the channel characteristics, but disadvantages, it will enhance the channel noise to a very large value. So what is the after effect? The signal to noise ratio reduces. So the receiver is unable to identify the actual signal or differentiate actual signal from the noise component. So this is an additional challenge for the receiver. Okay. Next is your minimum mean square error equalizer, which is a type of your linear equalizer here. Now this is a balance of linear equalizer, balance type in linear equalizer, which not only overcomes the intersymbol interference, but it also overcomes the noise which is introduced in the channel. How? It will calculate the mean square error value. So mean square error value means it will find out the error between the actual transmitted signal with the received signal or regenerated transmit signal at the receive side. So that error value that it is calculating for each symbol, one symbol at a time, it is going to calculate the mean square value of this error. And with this mean square error value, it will try to utilize the decision and the feedback section in such a way that to minimize this error. That means if error value is very, very high, it will try to take a decision. So there was one factor which was called mu factor, that the step size of the correction factor. So the correction factor will be increased. So if it is increasing, that means the error value in the next step will be reduced. So optimization of the multiplication factors, so omega k, was being done. Okay. So error more means we need to optimize this constant coefficient values. Error less means we need to do precise optimization of this constant coefficient values. So this is what was minimum mean square error equalizer for linear equalizers. Here it was balancing both the effect of intersymbol interference and noise. It is not just focusing on the intersymbol interference, it is focusing on both ISI and noise. So error introduced because of both ISI and noise, that is being handled by this factor. Now in this factor, sorry, mu factor was introduced in your adaptive filter. So in this case, it was plain simple decision and feedback. So decision was made. If error is high, it would be the feedback signal will go and it will change the value of the constant coefficient factors. According to that, we will be updating the value and we will again calculate the error signal and we will try to optimize it till the point where the error signal value becomes very, very low or negligible. So this is more complex because it is doing multiple iterations. Okay. Multiple iteration means every time we are calculating the error signal, every time we are optimizing the value of the constant coefficient, and every time we are taking the decision, and based on that decision, we are updating the value. So this is multiple iterations means multiple steps. Multiple steps means more hardware, more resources. More resources means it is more complex technique. Next, we discussed these two are non-linear ones. I will discuss this later on. But first, in this linear category, we had more adaptive filter categories or adaptive equalizer categories, which was called LMS adaptive and RLS adaptive. In these two scenarios, we had something called mu factor or step size actually. Not in this MMSE actually, that was my mistake. So in adaptive equalizers, we had something called step size where we were or correction factor. So step size and correction factor was introduced. Why? Because when the channel is varying in time, so till this first two factors, so till this 1 and 2 equalizer, here the channel is fixed. Channel response is fixed. That means h of k value is fixed. Okay. That means channel is not changing with respect to time. But in these two factors, LMS adaptive and RLS adaptive, the channel characteristics is changing with respect to time. It is changing with respect to motion of the transmit and the receive. block. So the channel characteristics is changing means there is Doppler effect. With respect to frequency, we are experiencing frequency selective fading. Clear? So these two factors are for changing nature of the channel characteristics with respect to time. Then how the equalizer is going to optimize itself and try to predict the correct value of the transmitted signal in the receive side by overcoming the intersymbol interference introduced by this time varying channel. Okay, so this was done using a correction factor or step factor which was called mu. Now there was one in which we were using mu factor, in one I think it was used in LMS adaptive, and in RLS adaptive we were using some factor called lambda actually. Okay, so there was two factors, two different factors. Mu is the step size or correction factor for LMS adaptive. Now, if I am having very minor variation or very fine variation of the channel characteristics, the step size will be taken very precise. Smaller step size. Smaller step size means I'm doing precise tracking of the channel characteristics. Precise means in small steps I'm tracking the channel change in the channel characteristics and I'm updating the value of the constant coefficients omega k. So that is precise updation or optimization of the the constant coefficients which are going to overcome the ISI effect because of the channel. Okay. And in RLS, so this was precise. And if the channel is changing very fast, then we are going to take larger size of this mu factor, means larger correction is involved. Large corrections means step size is very large. So it sometimes happen that the equalizer can become unstable. Okay. So for fast variation of channel characteristics, LMS adaptive is not generally preferred because it has slow convergence. Slow convergence means it does precise tracking of the channel characteristics and it takes long time to actually reduce the amount of error to negligible or zero value. So this is very slow process, but it is a simple process. So to overcome this disadvantage, we introduced RLS adaptive equalizers. So in this case, what it was doing, it was trying to assign the all the previous error that the error factors that were there. All previous error factors were given based on the value of this lambda factor. It was given importance or weighting factors. So if lambda factor was less than a certain value, then based on the different values of lambda, actually, the decision was made whether we will take equal weightage of all the previous errors or we will ignore the previous one or the least important one and we will take the current errors and we will enhance the or optimize the omega k value. So there was, in this case, we are utilizing all the previous error factors or error terms which was utilized, which were detected for the previous symbols. All the previous errors, if given same importance, then we will be estimating it in one way. If it was like fast changing channel, then only the current error factors will be taken or given more importance, and previous error factors were not taken into consideration. So depending upon how the channel is changing, whether I want to do fast convergence or not, whether I want to do it in very less number of steps, so based on the need or requirement of the equalization and the changing nature of the channel, we will do this, choose the value of lambda, and we will selectively choose the error factors and give weightage to those error factors and optimize the value of the constant multiplication factors. So this is advantages. It has very fast operation. It does fast convergence, but disadvantage is again fast, but it is very complex process, complex to implement. So this is very difficult to implement. It will require a lot of resources, a lot of hardware, and it will take some amount of time. But the convergence would be very high, or faster convergence will happen. Next, we have decision feedback equalizer and most likelihood sequence estimation, minimum likelihood sequence estimation. So, sorry, minimum no, it is maximum likelihood sequence estimation. So these two types of equalizers are part of your non-linear equalizers. So non-linear equalizers we have just covered in this lecture and the lecture before this. We have studied, compared the two types of equalizers. Non-linear means it has three components. It is having one decision block, it is having one feedback section, and it is estimating the entire sequence of the transmit instead of doing one symbol at a time estimation. So here we are utilizing the all the past symbol errors in DFE. We are utilizing all the past decision errors, and we are utilizing these to estimate the ISI of the future symbols. Okay. So this is kind of based on past decision. I am taking the decision for the future symbols. So this is you. It is effective compared to your linear equalizers because it does not enhance the noise in the wireless propagation channel. It effectively reduces the overall error, which is due to both ISI as well as noise. But major disadvantage is that the error propagation happens. That means if I do one step wrong in estimation, that step will cause error in all the steps that are there in the upcoming decision making steps. So there is error propagation in this non-linear equalizers. Next is your MLSE or maximum likelihood sequence equalizer, which is the final non-linear equalizer topic in your syllabus. In this case, we are actually taking or estimating, we are doing reverse propagation. Here we are estimating the transmit sequence, symbol sequence, and we are calculating the estimated output value. So output value means YK cap. So we are estimating the output and we are calculating what is the actual received with the estimated received, and we are calculating one error value D. So this error value is between the actual receipt and the estimated receive. We are taking or assuming one transmit sequence. Based on that, we are calculating this, and we will keep on doing this process again and again till this estimated sequence matches with my actual received sequence. So when this matches, then I will understand that that transmitted sequence that I'm estimating, that is my actual transmitted sequence. Now this MLSE can happen only, or it operates only when the channel characteristics is known. Channel characteristics means H of K, channel impulse characteristics is already known to the equalizer. Only then we can estimate one transmit sequence, we can multiply with the channel characteristics, and we can perform the error calculation in the actual receive with the estimated receive, and keep on repeating the process again and again. So this is having best performance in terms of handling severe ISI and noise in the channel, both of them. So MLSE is your best equalizer amongst all the different types of equalizers. Okay, but the major disadvantage is it is having highest complexity, and it is very complex because every time I'm going to estimate one sequence and I'm going to repeat this process again and again, so number of symbols in each sequence, the effect will keep on increasing or multiplying that many times. So this is very high in terms of resource. This is very resource intensive. Okay. So this is all the different types of equalizers which are there in your syllabus. So we have covered all the different types of equalizers. So this is what is there in your unit 4 actually.